We begin again, with fresh eyes and open hearts. I believe the commander has found the strength he needs. So too must we marshal ourselves for the task ahead, for there is more at stake here. As time progresses, Callus' hold on the lunar pyramid grows in strength. For each connection we have severed, the remaining grows stronger. The nightmares only increase in number, and soon I fear they will overflow from the Leviathan and spread across the system. Zavala is ready to face his past again. Collect the necessary reagents for the next ritual, and join him on the Leviathan. We cannot afford to fail again.
Hey guys, and welcome. Today we're going to detail everything that happened this week and a little bit more lore around how Zavala was consoled by a member of the Vanguard around his struggles from the previous week's ritual. Now, if you guys are brand new around here, definitely do consider subscribing. It would be very much appreciated, along with leaving a like on today's video if you did go ahead and enjoy. But guys, without further ado, let's jump straight into it. So to begin with today, I do want to start off with the ending of last week's story, as it does directly tie into the beginning of this week's. Now, if you guys missed out on last week's video, I'll link it on the description down below, and also on an annotation on screen, so you can go check it out, and you can get up to date with exactly what's going on. But we're going to recap very briefly in this one.
Hey, Commander. How you holding up?
I've been better. Sounds like you have too.
Yeah. Pretty tore up inside. Any little thing sets me off. I'd have said some hurtful stuff to somebody who didn't deserve it.
We've all been at our worst. When we're hurt, when we're afraid. We all fall apart.
Feels like I'm held together by duct tape and spit lately.
The last few weeks have opened up some old wounds. Reminded me of important people I've lost. My wife. My son. Yeah. I know that kind of hurt. Other way around, though. I still think about my folks, but I can't really remember their voices anymore. I can't remember Hakeem's voice either. I try. I try so hard. You wanna tell me about him? Your wife? Someday. Not today. Not yet. Want some company down in your office anyway? We don't have to talk. Maybe we just sit. I'd like that. Thank you, Amanda. Ain't nothing. It's what family does.
Now, towards the very end of the quest last week, there was an audio log between Amanda Holliday and Zavala, essentially where Amanda offers to meet Zavala in his office and they can have a talk through things and stuff along those lines. Now, we have some lore around this encounter that I do want to read out to you guys for those that are interested in it. It is really interesting to see how Amanda did console Zavala during this time and some of essentially how Zavala's feeling in more detail after the failed ritual. So it is really important to maybe get a bit of lore around this, understand exactly what happened, to understand and appreciate how Zavala's feeling going into this second ritual. So let's dive in. It's quiet in Zavala's office, save for the sound of clicking as the tiny steel pendulums on his desk swing back and forth. Raoul once told him that they were the Newton's Cradle, a pre-Golden Age relic named for one of humanity's greatest scientific minds. The trinket is all that remains of a life's work lost to time, consumed by the collapse and the ensuing Dark Age, like so many other things. As Zavala stands at the window, brooding in shame and guilt as he silently contemplates the traveller, Zavala hears a knock at the door. A moment later, Amanda Holliday steps into the room. Dark circles frame her eyes, and her shoulders slump with a weight unseen. No nightmare hovers beyond her, hounding her every step, but she seems haunted nonetheless. Zavala is certain that, given his own ordeals, he must look much the same. "Hey," Amanda says quietly as she crosses over to his desk. She leans against it and joins him looking over the city. They stand in silence for a long time and watch a small fleet of civilian ships weave their way into the buildings. The click of pendulums mark the time as it drifts past them. "The last city," Amanda murmurs. "Wish my folks had lived to see it." "As do I," Zavala solemnly replies. "You would have liked them," Amanda says with a sad smile. "As stubborn as they were kind. They gave everything to make sure I reached the city. Bravest people that I've ever known." "Devotion inspires bravery," Zavala says, almost absently. He turns from the window and glances at a low shelf, where a cracked white mask is displayed under the glass. "Bravery inspires sacrifice, and sacrifice," his voice quivers as it trails off, "is worth it for ones we love," says Amanda. "My parents didn't have the light, but they had me." Amanda meets his eyes, her own filled with a light all their own. "We can't all live forever, but being remembered, that's the next best thing." Amanda laughs and sniffles at the same time. "Didn't mean to talk your ear off, sorry about that." "Don't be," Zavala replies with a small smile and a sigh of sadness. "I just wish I could return the favour." He moves from the window and leans on the desk next to her, gazing out to the traveller and the last city, as they settle into a comfortable silence. The pendulums on his desk continue to click and clack, the echo of a life lived long, long ago. This conversation between Amanda and Zavala was definitely one that Zavala needed, although he is still contemplating exactly what's happened and how to get through what he's gone through. But like Eris did with Crow, this sort of conversation or counselling will help the person very, very much. And as we've seen with Crow, he was able to overcome his nightmare, not necessarily forget that it will be there, because of course Uldren Sov would have always been a part of Crow, but more along the lines of accepting his nightmare and just accepting that Crow was a part of his past and becoming better because of that. Now we move on to the event for this week. Again, is very, very similar to last week in terms of moving through the Leviathan, the same path, and getting to the ritual site. However, throughout this whole process of getting to the ritual site, Zavala seems like he's a lot better and a lot more fit to do the ritual this time around. Just in his voice you could tell this. The chat with Amanda really did help him, and again there may be some more lore around this, but from what it sounds like, he sounds like he's at a much better situation.
Eris, what happens to her if we succeed?
That is unclear. I'm sorry.
My love is still afraid to let me go. The Traveler called you all from your graves to be broken over and over again. An endless sacrifice. But that is not my purpose. Let me rest.
Strange. As the underbelly succumbs to this transformation, it has begun to elicit a constant subsonic frequency.
Is Callus doing this to the ship?
Through the pyramid, yes. It is breaking the Leviathan's bones to reset them elsewhere.
So he is not so different from your god. From the god of our son's murderers.
The Traveler is not my god.
It is said broken bones heal stronger than before, but this is a lie. They are forever weakened. Was Hakim's death a breakage to reset you under the Traveler's watch? Am I the weakness you carry forever? Zavala sees Hakim's face in these phantoms, and in you, Guardian.
I want to see him. I close my eyes, but they're only flashes. I try to remember him exactly as he was. I try.
I see his face too. Anemic and choked. Fear and pain I cannot stop. Then nothing. And I am alone.
Forgive me.
This frequency you isolated, it's almost like a voice, muddled in the dissonant churn between Pyramid and Leviathan. It's resonating through Phantom and Nightmare alike, manipulating their psychic connection to the darkness. It must end.
We can remember why we lived our life without hating why we lost it.
I hate my son's murderers. The god they followed. that it has taken you too.
That's not fair.
Live with your decisions. That and duty are all you have to hold close.
I'll set this amplifier, Guardian, and meet you ahead.
All amplifiers broadcasting. Isolation complete. Now there's only the severance. Zavala is ready, Guardian. See to your side of things, and we will prevail.
I've reached the site, preparing the harvester.
This mission won't bring you the peace you desire. Your devotion to the Traveler rewards you only with war and death. Never peace.
I'm not doing this for the Traveler. I'm doing it for you.
Your hands are pressed against a wound to staunch bleeding. It spills through your fingers. You are soaked in it. I knew when to let go. When to wash the blood from my hands. Do you? How many pawns has the Traveler sacrificed to conscript Commander Zavala into its service? When it leaves you too, will you become like the Fallen?
Guardians stand for more than the Traveler. We make our own fate.
We get to the ritual site and begin the ritual. We then defeat the boss successfully, and Zavala was able to overpower the nightmare of his dead wife, Sophia, and convert her from a nightmare into a psychic construct, aka a memory.
I wish I could step back into that life. Or that you could step into mine.
What would I do with this broken man you've become?
You teach me to heal again. We'd watch our scars fade together. Sophie? There's so much. The years have made apologies lose their meaning. But I am sorry.
You can only apologize for something that is your fault. Hakim wouldn't want to see you mourn. He'd want his father to be proud of his courage, as I am proud of yours.
Hakim should know his father feels nothing but pride. That's why I trusted him to protect you. You've given me a lot to consider about where I put my faith.
Analyzing the whims of a silent god? You'll mold those thoughts over into dust. There's not always an answer. Let go and rest.
Yesterday I was too tired to rest. Today, Sophie, Hakim, I'll find you in my dreams. I'm glad it was you standing with me.
Zavala should be commended. It is not easy to forgive one's own regrets. Another thread frays between Pyramid and Leviathan, Guardian. And yet I feel the next will test us most of all.
Eris mentions that this was successful, however, she remains wary as the next ritual or conversion will be our toughest one yet. And this gets me thinking a lot. Could this be Ikora and Cayde-6? Will it be the toughest for the players, us, the community, or the toughest for the person? Again, it can be interpreted in two different ways. I would love it to be Ikora and Cayde-6 and to get a psychedelic construct of Cayde-6 and have Cayde fighting with us against Callus and the Darkness. That would be amazing for the last time. But then on the other side of the fence, also it could be Keitel and Ghoul, as we've seen in the first cutscene of Season of the Haunted. Do let me know your thoughts and opinions down below though, guys. What do you think and what do you want to see? For me, Cayde-6 would be a definite pulley of the heartstrings, so I think that would be more for the players. After this point, we do go back to the helm and we get the thoughts and opinions of Zavala on this whole situation. Zavala essentially accepts that he did everything that he could in order to try and save his son Hakeem, but the guilt even to this day still haunts him for that. And each time he loses a member of the Vanguard, it eats away at him, and this is potentially referring to the loss of Cayde-6 as well. But this type of loss was what pushed him further towards being a Guardian in the first place, and it's what's made him the person that he is today.
When I first saw Sophia return as a nightmare, I was afraid. I didn't want her to reveal what I'd done. I did everything I could to save Hakeem. I can accept that now. But back then, guilt, like gravity, warps our perception of what is real. His death carved out a place in me. And everyone I lose under my command only compounds that feeling. Sophia knew that. She understood that losing him only pushed me further toward being a Guardian. She knew that I couldn't stand by and watch the world burn. Because in her own way, neither could she. After everything we faced aboard the Leviathan, I'm left to wonder, have I made the right choices? I don't regret all the good the city has done, or that I was a part of it. But what it took to get here, what it's taken to keep it. Our minds weren't meant for this many years. Like so many other things, we have a word for eternity, without the capacity to comprehend what it actually means. When is enough? Enough. Maybe it's time to let go.
After this conversation with Zavala, we then go and speak with Eris.
It is done. Another of Cayde-6's connections to the lunar pyramid is severed. We are poised to strike the final blow. And yet, I find myself unable to enjoy this success. It has come too easily. Only one connection remains to the lunar pyramid, and Cayde-6 has barely reacted. There is a piece of his agenda that we cannot yet see. I know it. To be this close and still feel as though it is but a mirage is infuriating. I will find the answer to our final severance. For now, continue your exploration of the Leviathan. Any piece of information, no matter how small, could change everything.
At the end of this conversation with Eris, we get a final piece of dialogue between Cayde and Zavala. They converse, and essentially Cayde almost reassures Zavala that he is a true warrior, and what he's overcome is no easy battle, even for someone of the Cabal.
Conquering one's demons is a noble task. There are many stories of Cabal heroes who did the same. Now, they live forever as legends.
I don't want to be a legend, Cayde.
Too late. Even we have stories about the great Commander Zavala. Only we do not call him that.
Do you need something, Eris?
This is not a formal communication. This is a private reckoning. One warrior to another.
I see. I fought countless battles where my life was on the line. Won and lost them. Nothing like this. Never as hard.
As I told your crow once, battles fought in the theater of the mind and heart are just as brutal as ones fought with flesh and bone. We all bear our scars, victories, defeats. Some openly with pride, some others hidden away beneath layers of shameful armor. This battle was the most honest of your risen life. You won.
I don't feel like I've won any battles. I just feel tired and old.
And yet, you still stand.
But guys, that's going to be all for this week. I am very curious on who we might see next week to do the ritual, whether it will be Cayde or whether it will be Ikora. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. I would prefer Ikora and Cayde because it would be a little bit more heart-wrenching to the player rather than Keitel and Ghoul. So yeah, that's just my thoughts and opinions though. Let me know down below, guys. Drop a like if you did enjoy today's video. Subscribe if you are brand new, and we'll see you all in the next one.